Live stream starting shortly. Talking Rock live stream is starting very soon. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to be starting very briefly. All right. Yo. What's good, yo? What's good, everyone? This is Vitamin the Governor. Vitamin the Governor here. This is Talking Rock Live. What's going on? This is a Monday evening live from Brooklyn, New York. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for all the birthday wishes. I would like to thank everyone that reached out to me today. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. Everyone that reached out it really meant a lot to me. So thank you once again. Today we have a very, very special guest with us, hailing all the way from San Francisco, California, the Bay Area. We got the Dynasty Rockers Portland champion. We got the Culture Rock 2011 champion. We have the Renegade Rockers 2011 champion. We have the Freestyle Sessions 2015 Burn or Get Burned champion in the building. If you do not know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with none other than Whacko, aka the Whackness. What's going on, yo?
Yo, what's up? And happy birthday to you, bro.
Word. Thank you, man. Thank you. Word, man. It's a long time coming. Someone who's definitely been representing rock from the West Coast and really a world traveler. So this is a long time coming. First and foremost, how's everything with you, Whacko? Like just in general, just how's everything?
I'm good, man. I'm just I worked out with my strength and conditioning coach. I'm actually getting ready to do a smoker in June. So Muay Thai. I got practice later tonight, but just recovering from the weekend. I made top 5 in Rising Entrepreneur here in the Bay. It's kind of like a contest with my business, Whack Donuts, and just waiting for the results. Find out this Thursday if I win, and if I do win, they're going to build out a brick and mortar space for me with the lease, a free lease for a year, and $10,000 stipend on top of that. So.
Nice. Is there like a voting system for that? Is there any
No,
way that
the judges already voted? It was kind of like Shark Tank. We pitched our businesses, and yeah, man, I'm feeling really good, But at the same time, it's like regardless, like I made some good contacts. People really want to connect with me, and yeah. But I'm just that's my grind. That's what I do Tuesday through Sunday when I'm not dancing or kicking pads.
Nice. Yo, that's very fresh. And yo, let's as a rock community give Whacko a lot of energy and hope that he gets that grant and gets that funding, because I know that would mean a lot to you. We all could use some help right now with everything that's going on in the world. But let's get to why you're here, man. Talking rock. before we get into the rock, let's learn a little bit about you. You're from the Bay Area. Um, Tell us a little bit about growing up, like in the Bay Area, and a little bit about yourself as like a young man. Who were you?
Yeah,
Who was
yeah.
Whacko?
So I was born and raised San Francisco, California. Been mostly representing like the Mission, Fillmore neighborhood. So that's the mostly black and like Hispanic neighborhoods. My intro into dance is actually funny. I actually didn't like dancing when I was a kid. It was like all the girls did it, and anytime I went to like a homegirl's birthday party, we're always like doing like electric slide or whatever. And I remember I locked myself in the bathroom one time and my mom had to come get me. And I was like, oh yeah, my stomach hurt. And she was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. Then I told my grandma, I was like, I wasn't trying to dance, you know? But Soul Train in the 80s, late 80s was still a thing. And my mom knew a lot of the dancers from LA and they would come up. And it was these brothers that had Jerry curls. You know, that was the hairstyle back then. And
Hmm.
yeah, one could pop and the other could lock. And so I just kind of just watched them. And it wasn't until I got into high school where I got really introduced to breaking, and I was like, "Oh, that looks dope." And yeah, but it was popping first, then locking, then breaking, and then I injured my wrist. So there was like there was a period where I couldn't do footwork or a lot of power that I used to have, and so I was mostly just rocking on top. But then Mighty Four 2002, I believe, or 2003 at San Jose State, that was my first time seeing, you know, King Up Rock. And they had it was basically like a top rock and rocking exhibition. And I was just like, oh shit, that's King Up Rock. And he went out and did his thing. That's my first time I met Louisville, Johnny from Rock Force. And yeah, and the rest was history. I was kind of hooked. And so some years later, Bug Eye Bandit, aka Rock Bandit, he was going back and forth between San Diego and he moved back to the Bay. And he had gone to New York a million times. And, you know, I went to practice with him out in Berkeley and he was rocking. And I was like, yo, show me a jerk. You know, teach me a jerk. And he was like, nah, you're not ready for this, bro. Like, you know, go do some top rock and get out of my face. And I just kept bugging him and bugging him. And at the same time this was happening, Rob Nasty was also kind of, you know, hitting him up too. And then we would kind of link up and kind of show each other some of the stuff that Bandit was teaching us. And then finally he was just like, oh, you guys really want to learn how to rock. So I'll teach you. And we just found spots. We were getting kicked out, like, you know, by security guards. And then we found a spot in the Embarcadero and we just called it Castles. So it was like, you know, only certain people could come to Castles. And then he was like, yo, let's start a crew. And Bandit started Forever We Rock. So PJ gave
Right.
us the name, and it was me, Rob, and Bandit at first. And then later, members that came along like Pugs, Mark Rock, um, Raph. Raph was this cat that was living out here in the city, but he eventually moved to New York. So he was holding it down for us in New York. And yeah, man. Then I just really started getting into traveling, and anybody for that would happen up here, I was there. Out for Fame, I was there. Um, and then
Let's rewind a little bit. So at the time that you're doing this, or your early stages of dance, um, you got to talk about this is pre-social media, and then
yeah,
also this is pre for you is pre, you know, dance being so exposed out there with the TV shows besides Soul Train. So
mhm.
you're learning dance from these gentlemen, the popper and the locker, right? You're being influenced by them. How was it at that time to learn dance, to find dance, to find a dancer community?
So growing up in the Bay, bro, I didn't see a lot of black dancers. I mostly saw like Latinos and Filipinos like breaking, right? And you know, I knew who Renegades was. I had like a small knowledge of certain crews. I knew who Knuckle Neck Tribe was. Like, you know, you got Elite Force in New York. We had Knuckle Neck Tribe. We had Jughead Tribe. There's a bunch of like, you know, crews. At that time though, bro, there was like no YouTube, you know, so you had to kind of go to the practices. So when I finally started going to like places like Cell Space or the Embarcadero YMCA, If you lived in Daly City, it was more War Memorial. If you're like South Bay, it was like Hank Lopez. So you had these places, but it was kind of old school, man. It was cutthroat. It's like you had to kind of have some type of flavor, you know. Like I can't just walk up to someone and be like, "Hey, man, can you teach me how to do a 90?" And they'd be like, "Let me see it," and you crash and be like, "They don't want to mess with you." So it was real like cutthroat. So even when I first met Iron Monkey, I didn't know Iron Monkey was black until I finally saw him. I thought he was an Asian cat. Just I heard the name, and I was
Yeah,
like, okay, he must be Asian, you know. So just showing you how toy I was like in the beginning, bro. It was like, okay, like I didn't see us, you know, I didn't see my peoples, you know. And so when I finally did, I was like, oh crap, we do this too. And you know, when I met Track Two, he was like, man, you guys started this. What are you talking about? You know, so yeah, it was like you didn't really get help like that unless you were kind of good. But then,
yeah.
you know, later down the road, people would kind of, you know, kind of take you under their wing. So
So
yeah,
around the time you went to that event that you saw the Top Rock versus the Up Rock exhibition, what was your perception or what was your knowledge of rocking at that point?
very limited. No, at that time, and that was when I met Foots and Cole Chris a little bit prior to that, so I knew who those guys were. And I was seeing literally when like Ralph had put those guys down in the beginning.
Okay.
They were the only two guys really like rocking, and then you had um, b boys and b girls that would do like, you know, the kind of like beat
Shuffle,
street, you
shuffle.
know, boom boom, you know, shuffle shuffle drop. So our knowledge is really limited, you know. So once we saw that Mighty Four where Ralph came up here and showed that, you know, Bushwick style, I know me, Bandit at the time, even though he was still down with Hound Dog Truckers and Breaking More, you know, Rob was probably the only other person like that had a good like, you know, Manhattan style of rocking. But yeah, I knew next to nothing, you know, just
What
what I saw from Beach Street and other
what at
stuff.
that point what at that point you seeing King Uprock go out there and dance? What about it? Because you're already seeing I mean you're in a city full of dance history already. Um so what about what he was doing stood out to you, being that you're already surrounded by all of this?
I remember seeing Pro Am 2000, I believe, when him and Kenny went at it, and I just saw the different contrasting styles, and I was just like,
Mm.
it's different, and I don't know, I just was like really drawn to it, and I remember Pro Flo and Rob were like, oh, you want it because I wanted the DVD like so bad, or it was VHS at the time. They I bought it off of them, and I just remember I just kept watching anything that had like RC in it, and then I started finding other members like Danny Boy, Numbers, you know, Break Easy, so on and so forth. I don't know. I was just like I said, I was really attracted to just like the way Ralph like was dancing, even though I was there at the Mighty Four where they kept messing up his record, and they just finally played the Mexican for him. And by that point, he was kind of tired, and but still, I was like, yo, this is nasty. He's like dancing this whole song, and yeah, I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is like it's like Top Rock, but not. You know, it's more. And then when Johnny called out Louisville, it was like this head to head, and I was like, oh, that looks way better than like the, you know, we're doing flips like in Beat Street. So I was like, there's more to this dance. So my curiosity was just, you know, intrigued at the time.
Nice. So you link up with Bandit, you link up with Rob. You're kind of like y'all together. You're doing your thing. You're kind of now repping the rock for yourselves out in the West. How were you guys received by your own community? Because now y'all bringing that style in, and that's not a style that was so prevalent in California. How were y'all received initially from your own community? And talk a little bit about those early stages of y'all getting together and rocking, and how y'all developed as rockers.
It was interesting. It's kind of like, you know, when you're at the school dance, you see someone doing like something weird, and you're like, okay, that's different, but and you just kind of go back to doing your thing. It was no one really knew what to make of us in the beginning. You know, you also had Miss Little and her girls, like the Fillmore Rocks crew. So there was like kind of like we were like cousins in that respect. But we went hard though at one point. So it started off slow. We were just kind of like in our little like club, like we were some MCs or whatnot, and just really going through Bandit, just like drilling the hell out of me and Rob. It's like, okay, you guys got to rock to Just Begun, and then Rob and Bandit would go Just Begun, and it was just like, and then the first rocking thing we entered was out like in Sacramento. I think Moon Cricket put it on. That was me and Rob's first official time entering a rocking scenario. There were some cats from Street Masters. I remember 777 was there, Legacy was there, Flea Rock was there, Numbers was DJing, Foots and Chris were there. It was and shockingly Bandit didn't enter because he was like, well, I don't know how they're judging, so I kind of want to see first. And you remember, this is the guy that like taught me and Rob, but Rob, I believe he ended up winning. It was like him and Miss Little, or him and King Uprock, I think were in the finals. But yeah, and then after that, Bandit was like, okay, so we're gonna like drill more. And I mean, any opportunity there was to, we just showed up. So '94, I got smoked by like Worry like horribly. But what else? B-Boy Hoedown was like I think the biggest one we entered. And it was Bandit and Rob in the finals. Bandit won, I believe, but he gave like the big check to Rob. And then we went back the following year, and that's when it was Elmo versus Rob in the finals. I lost to Elmo. So that by that point, by around I want to say 2007, I was kind of starting to get it. It was starting to click, And even that first year that I did B-Boy Hoedown, like I remember, Bandit was like, "Oh, you guys got to go to New York too." So we had to make that trip to New York, and that's when I met Break Easy, met Ralph, met PJ, I met Little Dave.
Talk about that first time coming to New York, because you're meeting a cast of characters. You're not meeting some normal individuals here.
Nah, it was different, man.
People do, a lot of drinking, a lot of urbanness. So
like I know I'm in Brooklyn, but damn.
Yeah.
It was
talking about that. The first time coming to New York and meeting guys like Little Dave, meeting guys like King Uprock, meeting guys like Mr. Loose. Talk about that whole experience.
It was definitely intimidating, but it just, for me, it was kind of like going to a family reunion and just meeting cousins I don't see all the time. And, like my country cousins from the South, it's like, okay, they're a little different, and like when I met Tiny, I was fucking intimidated. I was like, damn, this dude's kind of, he had his hat all the way down, I was just like, okay, this is an intense dude. And it was weird. It's like we had to it was a lot of waiting around because Ralph got off work mad late, or like, okay, we can go over here. And then Tiny was like, oh, if you guys want, you can go over to McCarran Park, and just wait for us there. And we're just kind of like, okay. Bandit kind of went through all this too, so he kind of schooled me and Rob when we finally made our trips out there. And yeah, I remember we were just hanging at Little Dave's house, and then he was just telling us stories like from back in the day. Like he was like, "Yeah, never change your partner. I got this trophy and blah blah blah." And it's like him in the one piece, and just like, and then his wife came out, was feeding us. It was just like it was crazy, man. But it went over my head, but it was fun. And then at one point when we went back out, we had new colors like that PJ had made for us, and we entered. Seven Gems had an event. I think Noel was like one of the judges, and Robin and Bandit, kind of were like, big brother, and they were like, oh, you can't enter as Whacko because Whack one was like, in Seven Gems. And he was like, you got to battle him for your name. And they were kind of fucking with me, but I was like, all right, I'll do it. And like I battled him first round, and I won. And then they're like, okay, you can use Whacko now when you rock. And then, but I think I crossed the line when I was rocking Pugs. They had some weird line thing, and they said I crossed it. I was like, whatever. It was like a Ferrari Rock final, anyways. That was my first time like seeing Phantom on the rock tip. I knew who Phantom was just through B-Boy World and watching clips. And we started rocking the fire, but then like the song stopped, and we were just kind of like, well, this is a waste of time. So we just kind of was like, whatever. And I remember Noel like was like, "Yo, where you guys from?" And we are like, "We're from Cali." And he was like, "You guys have a Bushwick style," and we were like, "Well, that's our base," you know. So yeah, that was
And
my first. Yeah, that was my. I've been out to New York like 3 times. Yeah.
how did that impact you? Like you now come going to New York, going on this kind of crazy convoluted journey with all these individuals, you going in battles, some of the individuals you're hearing of, now you're seeing them, you're battling them, you're building with them, talking with them in the same spaces at them. Now you go back to California. What did that experience do for y'all? Did it refuel you when you went back to California?
Oh hell yeah. Cause at the time too, bro, like I was for me in terms of tiers of like obviously Bug Eye taught me and Rob, so he was here. And then I struggled to keep up with Rob and Bandit. And so I felt like I was like, the weak link on the team. And, you know, kind of like on some Naruto shit, I was like, Rob was my Sasuke. I'm trying to like match him. And it wasn't so when I came back and Rob was just like excelling, I was just like, man, I gotta go hard, man. So we definitely put in the work. And then I think the first time I got the acknowledgement from Rob was when we did the Dynasty anniversary in Vegas one year, and it was me and him in the finals. And I went so hard, I like pulled like both my calf muscles. I mean, and then plus it was hot, and I get dehydrated real easily. So, and that's when I think King Uprock was like going to be like, yo, whoever wins that battle can call me out and battle for the title of King Uprock. But we went so hard, dude. Like we were like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, both of
And
y'all
that's
done,
when I
right?
felt like, I was okay. I'm on the level, so it's like Bandit, me, and Rob. So and it was like, oh shit, for every rock. I thought, yeah, and then yeah.
Nice. So going back to California, where people now looking to y'all has the rockers going to y'all for the information, going to y'all for the moves, or now people headhunting y'all and looking to y'all. They got the belts, they got the influence, they got the they've been kind of green lighted by some of the OGs. Let's come after, let's get at them now. How was it? What was the how did you feel your community embraced you at that point, going back to NYC?
So when we got back, and at this point, I believe Bug Eye had moved back down to San Diego, so it was really just me and Rob, Pugs, and other guys holding it down. And we would just go to jams, and we didn't care if it was like a popping cipher, b-boy cipher. We would just start rocking. And if people, wanted to test those waters, they were gonna get burned. Same thing happened at like Sales Space. These two guys that kind of rocked, but didn't really. We were like we heard that they're gonna call us out, so we had routines ready and everything for them, smoked them, and then it surprisingly it became this small little community of people that actually want to learn how to rock. So a lot of b boys and b girls are like starting to seek us out, like, hey, um, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, we like your style, like, can you teach us? And that's why I said, kind of going back to how Castles was back in the day, we were on some MC shit, man. It was like if you came up and no one told me you were coming, you like, nah, son, you can't come. You better turn around and go the other way. So we were really like selective of who we were bringing in, and most of the time people respected that. It's like we put in a lot of work because I remember all those nights just rocking for like hours, dude, and just like some Joe nobody's gonna come up here and announce. So yeah, and then we just if people asked us and we talked it over as a crew, and like, okay, hey, so and so wants to come through, is it cool? I'm like, yeah, we'll show them what's up. And so it was good for a period, and then I think that's when me and Rob kind of started entering more stuff, and then like he kind of took a seat back, and then I was entering more stuff, and then that leads into like I guess we'll get into later, just my life solo adventures, but for the most
So
part, we were embraced. Yeah, pretty good.
nice. That's what's up. So you make your rounds in New York. You make your rounds in your own area, the Bay Area, and I'm sure all around California, throughout California. But now, you know, we come in with rockers around the world. We got these French rockers, we got these Korean rockers, we got these Taiwanese rockers, we got these Japanese rockers, and you're someone who made their way around the world rocking. Um, had the opportunity to compete at several worldwide jams such as Culture Shock, freestyle sessions. Talk a little bit about your battle experience going to different countries to enter some of the biggest rock competitions this community's seen.
So in 2010, towards the end of 2010, I was seeing someone and totally, heartbreak. And as that was happening, Profo told me about Culture Shock because he had judged it the year before, or that year, earlier that year. And I believe Skill Methods won with just two people. And he was like, yo, Culture Shock is happening in 2011, and they're gonna have Top Rock and Rocking. And I was just kind of like, I was like, okay, cool. I don't have a passport, I kind of didn't care. But he was like, yo, Why Not's gonna be there?
Mm,
Okay. Born's gonna be there. Okay.
mm.
And I was like, yo, I bought my ticket the next day. I didn't have a passport, but I
Wow, that's
bought
what's
my
up
ticket.
there.
Yeah. My crew was like, dude, you're crazy. You're not gonna get it in time because it was in February, and this is like December, and I just started a new job. I was working after school care because I was also kind of a teacher. And but yo, by the grace of Bob, I was able to get all my stuff done, and I flew out. And so Culture Shock happened. All my Renegade homies was there. That was my first time really officially meeting Cloud and Luigi from Skill Methods. And I just remember I flew. My homie Mark Rock, I met him in LA, and bro, I didn't have a hotel. I didn't know where the
You just
venue was. He had all that.
backpacked it, just
So,
backpacked it, and just you just ramboed it straight there.
and he figured out the hotel. He made sure like the cab driver didn't play us. He was Filipino. I'm black. My hair's looking like this. And we went to the
Culture
hotel.
shock for real, right? It was a culture shock for real.
Bro, they didn't know what to think about me when they saw this brother, bro. I'm telling you. And so we went to the hotel. I took a quick shower, and bro, I literally got the shower. And I was just like, "Yo, let's go." I was just ready to go, and went down downtown Taipei. It was overcast that day, so it was like sunny, and then it was kind of it looked like it wanted to rain. And dude, so an interesting thing is, you as a dancer, you have to pay, so the public doesn't pay. So
Yeah.
as an audience member, you're just watching, people battle. That was my first time meeting Bounce. Love that dude. And I just remember I signed up for the Rocking the Top Rock, and I even flying out beforehand. Like I was telling my crew, I was like, dude, it's gonna be me and Born and Why Not in the finals. I'm just calling that right now, and because I had a lot of people doubting me, and that just further pushed me. So every practice, I was going hard. Profo was lightweight training me, so he had me like do like these like hit exercises, and then I had to start rocking, doing top rock, do a couple like four, just so by the time I got there, dude, like I was on some Iron Man shit, and lo and behold, I made it to the finals. I battled Born, and I just remember how I approached that, I was just like, I'm just going to destroy this dude. It's
Mm,
Korea's best b-boy. Nobody knows who I am. So if you look at the DVD, I just appear like, who's this random black dude? You don't
yeah,
see me
yeah,
in any of
true.
the highlights. You only see me in the battles. And so I also kind of told myself too, like I didn't fly like 23 hours just to lose first round.
Mm,
So when I got to the finals against Bourne, I mean, I took my hat off at that point. He wouldn't even look at me. I was just like, on some Super Saiyan shit. I'm like, dude, I'm here to obliterate you. And yeah, we had a dope battle.
yeah,
That was my first time really feeling good about like my burns because I was like, dude, I'm not. Nothing was premeditated. It was all in the moment, and we shook hands. We were cool, And then I had to go a couple like 2 minutes with Rob for some reason. We had to rock a little bit, and I'm just like, dude, like I got to battle Why Not after this. And then they were like, okay, Whacko versus Why Not. So it's like
yeah,
what people don't know is like I battled Born, Rob for a little bit, then I battled Why Not, and that was all consecutive. And then the next day I was actually kind of able to chill, but then dude, as soon as I stepped into a cipher, people wanted to step to me, and I was like, okay. So that's looking back on it now. That's why I tell people when you get a name, that's kind of the fun part, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. If you're not willing to put your name on the line, just know like people are gonna call you out. It's like you're a name now, so it's like there goes so and so, there goes so and so. You know, why not? If you call me out, cool, we'll go around.
No pun intended, right? Why not?
Yeah, you know. So and then that same year I did IBE. Flew myself out. They had like a pre-party. I won the Cypher King, and I wasn't even trying. I was just dancing. And then the next day they had the Talk Rock. I won that. And then just anything that entered that year, it was just like that was my year. It was just like from I want to say from 2010, from when I won the Dynasty anniversary in San Diego, just going into like from 2010 to I want to say 2013. Those are my years.
Where
And then for me, the biggest deal though was uh, Bandit had gotten originally tasked to do the rocking at a freestyle session. And it was something I heard that Cross always wanted to do, but you know, like anything, there's
yeah, yeah,
politics, man. And
yeah, yeah,
he was like, I don't want to. And
yeah, yeah.
so I handed it off to Rob, and Rob took care of it that first year. And I just remember once I heard that they were having the rocking at freestyle session, I was like, I got to win that. Hands down. Even on driving down with the homies, they're like, "How you? I'm winning this shit. It has to be me. I don't care. I don't care who I'm rocking. It's gonna be me winning this shit." And I remember Vix. I remember Vix was there. I saw him way back at a house party when I was in New York, and we rocked a little bit. And I was all right. This guy's pretty nice. And then even like the day before, it was like every time we saw each other, we just kind of start rocking. He was the only guy I wanted to rock. Everyone else is kind of like, nah, you're not on my level. Not to be that guy, but I was like, it was just something about when me and Vix would rock, and I was like, cool. And the next thing you know, before I knew it, it was me and him in the finals, and yeah, and I
Yeah,
won the
man,
first
that
rocking.
battle was a really good battle. You said that you went in there with the mindset of just winning. How was it? Because you know, you guys are in the main room. It's like the main room. You're not in the side room, in the main room. Everyone's there. There's a big crowd watching. How was that moment for you to battle? It's not your immediate hometown, but it's California. How
Yeah,
was it for you to battle there, get the love from the audience, and then end up the winner?
it was crazy, bro. The thing about me when people ask like, you know, what's my mindset? Like, you know, I'm kind of a different person. I'm focused. You can't really talk to me because I'm focused on the task at hand. And I think that's what gives me the edge whenever I battle. It's like my focus and my discipline. But for a moment, you know, before they're getting ready to play the music, all the homies that were from the Bay, they were like, "Whacko, whack," and I was like, "Stop! Don't say that! Don't say that!" You know. So that was the only nerve wracking part. But once you know, "Love the Life You Live" came on, you know, I was like,
Where,
"Oh, fuck yeah, let's go."
where,
But before, it's just everything before that. It's just like okay, and then, yeah, like you said, it's like we were in the side room, and they're like, okay, now we're gonna do the rocking, and then I almost didn't make it because, like anything, the security is just weird. I don't know why security guards have been around this dance for so long. Seven Commandos had won the 3-on-3, and so they're taking pictures. And I'm trying to get to the main floor, and security wouldn't let me in. It's like, nah, dude. And I'm like, no, I'm in the final. I'm up next. I'm
um,
battling. And I think Cujo had to save me. And he
yo,
was like, no,
Laboon,
no, that's Whacko. He's
Laboon
not.
security, man. You gotta shape up out there, Laboon security, man. What y'all doing? Trying to stop Whacko from winning a competition?
So, you know, shout out Cujo. That fool saved my life, man. He was like, yo, he's battling, let him in. And then
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah,
waiting for like Dizzy and Hum10 and the other homie to like, because they were taking pictures and they're like, okay, we need the rockers. I'm just like, well, yeah. But then once it went down, I was like, okay, cool.
So you did all this worldwide traveling. You do this freestyle sessions 2014. Seems like you're on a very onward trajectory of just winning titles, competitions. But then it seems like there's a period where you kind of get a little quiet.
Yeah. So
What
two
happened
things.
to Whacko?
So two things happened actually. Another reason why the freestyle session was a big deal win for me. I broke my foot in 2013.
Mm,
So I had won the Top Rock 2 years consecutive at IBE. I won Renegades at one point, and so I was kind of on my B-boy Evo like hype. I wanted to win it 3 times in a row, and then just stop and then go on to some other stuff. I was trying to do Street Star at the time, Just Debut. But then like IBE kind of got canceled and they put it back on later. And I figured, oh, my foot should be cool by then. And then 2015, so I was out for 2 years. And then Freestyle Session was the first competition I won. The last thing I won was Floor Wars with my boy Eddie Styles. And then 2017, bro, that's when life just came out of nowhere and hit me in the gut. So my grandma was terminally ill, and no one had told me for the majority of the time of that year. So when I saw my grandma, that was our last conversation. And so she was terminally ill from cancer. And that same year, I was starting to do events on my own. So I did the Rock In series. So it was a rocking event partnered with another dance style. Because, sometimes it's hard to do just a straight rock event, low turnout. People still kind of like, I don't know about
you gotta add a footwork contest or something.
Yeah. So I was like, my boys were like, dude, you should do something. Because, I experienced some drama like the year before. At Freestyle Session. And so rather than being bitter, like, how most cats are, I lost, man, like, fuck, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't like that. I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to do my own event. And that's what I did. So I did Rock and Lock. So it was a one-on-one locking and a one-on-one rocking. And then as I'm planning that, and you know how it is planning events, now I'm getting news that my grandma's dying, and then there was fires up here, bro. And like, it almost got like canceled. But in the following year, 2018, another year of fires, and then my mom's cancer comes back, and so she passed away a week after the event. So my grandma passed a month after. So when I went down this Freestyle Session, and they had a 2-on-2 top rock, and I did it with Eddie, like that was like 2017. Like competing was just harder. It was usually I could just kind of compartmentalize, but everyone that was like, oh yeah, you're gonna kill it, and then like lost in the semis, and I was just kind of like, fuck. Nothing was clicking like it used to. I was losing, either not making past prelims and local stuff, or I was just constantly losing in the semis. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then I think 2017 was like the last year I entered stuff, because I did like an open styles crew thing with some homies last minute. And we should have won this one battle, but then they gave it to the other side because this dude kind of was like crumping a little bit, and he got hella close to me, and he like grabbed and ripped out my hair. And at this point too, I got back into Muay Thai, so everyone was kind of like, oh shit, what's Whacko gonna do? Because he was like in a good position where I could easily just like just sweep him.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that. It's like, life or death, situation. Or if we're hanging out and someone's getting on you, then it'll come out. Elbow will come out. But we talked it out. But I would assume the judges would have saw that and been like, yo, like, because I killed him. I destroyed I was killing it. And he got desperate. And he was like, my bad, bro. And I was like, dude, like, I'm down to battle, but you don't got to put your hand, you don't want to touch me. I said, you ripped out my hair, so.
Crumpers, that's how them crumpers get down, man. Trust me, I got
stories.
So, one, my condolences, because it's very tough to, like a lot of people, I think they say like, dance is the way to release your energy, but really, when your mind is not there, when things are very stressful, it's very hard to still be in that environment and give your 100% and even be present. So for you to still be out there trying to compete, trying to do something, I really commend you for that, especially during such a tough time.
Yeah, and then the following year, my aunt passed, and my mentor passed within a week of each other, because then I got flown out to a hip hop session, and the day I flew out is the day she died. And so when people were like trying to reach out to me, I tell them, it's like, it hits different when it's like a family member or a really close friend. Like once you start experiencing death, bro, you're like, so that's when I was just straight up doing Muay Thai. I wasn't rocking, I wasn't breaking, I wasn't popping, whatever. I was straight up. You didn't see me at practice, and like you said, you didn't see me at jams.
Yeah. Like your presence in the battle community and in the rock community kind of quieted down a little bit. And I mean, and then others came out, so kind of like you know how it is when one jumps out, another comes
Yeah.
in. You know, so let's move into kind of like the modern day. You know, kind of like maybe the last couple of years. Um, but even before we get there, before we even get there, let's speak a little bit more about rock in itself as a dance. Rock in itself as a dance, you're not dancing quick seconds. You're not doing a quick set or however many set you want to do. You dance to a whole song. It's more taxing. Jerks are not easy to get. It's a kind of a weird concept. So physically, what were some of the difficulties you encountered with rock? And then like talk about how you were like how were you able to get it? How were you able to make it click for yourself? What did you have particular training methods? Was you drilling particular songs? Did you have a way of how you practiced?
Yeah, so in the early days of Forever Rock, I was the tallest guy. And so I'm taller than Rob Nasty, I'm taller than Rock Bandit, Pugs, and all the other homies. So before Pugs got down, it was a lot more like Bandit was like, Mr. Miyagi. He had us do these like things over and over again. He had us doing side jerks for a whole city block and then come back. And then so yeah, it was just a lot of drilling, a lot of repetition, and then like Danny would kind of Bandit would kind of just give concepts like, oh, think about like a 4 count knife burn that you want to try like as you're doing a front jerk, or like if you're coming out of a spin, you know, you want to have your hand up and you can use that too to kind of like flip someone's like burn, and so it was very. I liked how he would kind of like structure our practices. Sometimes it would just be like, hey, here's a new song like Titanic 2000, and he was
Mhm.
like, I'm not going to tell you how to jerk to this song, but I just want you to think. I want you to react. So it was like he would play us new songs. So big shout out to like Bandit for really expanding my music
Definitely.
vocab on rock songs. 'Cause, it was like a lot of times it was just like Just Begun, Give It Up, Turn It Loose, Shaft in Africa. But once I linked up with Bandit, I think me and Rob's like knowledge of music just like went next level. So I'm the weirdo where I like listening to breaks. I listen to all kinds of music. Jazz is my shit just because it's all improv. So that helps me develop my burn. So I just listen to a lot of jazz. But, I studied, rare earth and then anything related to rock. I was like, okay, well, I think I can rock to this, or this has a cool breakdown. No, okay, fire. Then we would sometimes there'd be practice. We're just like, do you consider this more of a freestyle song? Do you think this is more of like a little bit of everything? And so, yeah, on top of that, I train Muay Thai. I run. I'm a cardio head. So I'd see things like from cartoons. I'm like, I could take that from Voltron and be like, okay, boom. So yeah, I don't think I train like traditionally like most people think, because even when I did an exhibition for the Battleborn anniversary, 18 and Guillaume were like, dude, how do you train, dude? Like, I was like, oh, dude, I'm a cardio head. So in my mind, at the time, it was like forever rock. So I took it literal. I'm gonna rock forever. Like, so you're going down. I'm not gonna go down. You're going down.
3 song minimum, yo. That's what we used to say.
Yeah.
3 song word. Dope, yo. So let's move on to kind of the modern era, man. As someone who has traveled, competed, you have to earn your bones the hard way of coming here and not knowing everything and finding out things the hard way. No, no real, no internet to teach you. No easy passes. What are some of the things that you see today from today's rockers that you are saying, okay, that's cool, man. I like that. I like that. I'm like what I'm seeing. And what are some things from today's generation of rockers that you're saying, I don't know about that, or maybe they shouldn't be going about it things this way, or maybe they need to do this, or maybe they need to practice this way, or whatever you feel the community is an improvement of based upon what you've been seeing over the last couple of years. What are some things that you feel the new community has on the right foot, is doing well, and some things that they need to improve upon?
I'd say for me, in terms of stuff that I've seen internationally, especially that I would like to see improved upon is certain music choices. It's kind of like it reminds me of like what my DJ homies used to say. It was like, well, just because it has a break doesn't mean you can play it, you know. Um, some songs I see people rock to, I'm like, oh, why are you doing jerks right now? Or like, why, why you should be like, kind of getting more into your freestyle. Um, that's just my little nitpick, but I just question some of the song choices sometimes I see people like rock to, even if it's like practice or if they're doing a show. I mean, yeah, like push the envelope, but still make it work. And some of the stuff I see doesn't work. But I will say overall, I am happy with just like I kind of feel like there's a second resurgence with rock, especially overseas, and I'm seeing some nice things. Like the homie Aya is like really doing some good stuff out there. I miss my homies, the Greatness Rockers, Boss J and those guys. I think they've been breaking more in the last couple of years, but they really have something dope going in Korea for a long time. So I hope they get back into pushing like rock in Korea. But I feel like right
Shout out
now,
to Boss J.
yeah,
Yeah.
China and Taiwan are really getting into it. And like I said, it's as long as their people are doing it, that's cool. Japan, I think Babylon's really trying to do some stuff too. Um, who else? Yeah, I'll say that for a personal conversation. But
Right.
overall, I'm cool with what I'm seeing. It's just like again, I'm not trying to sound like the OG. I'm nowhere near OG. It's just like reflecting on what I went through, like you said earlier, and what I'm seeing. It's like okay, just even when I'm at practice now, I'm like, you should probably try this. You should probably try that. Like oh, because for me, when I'm teaching, like people it goes over their head, but once they start connecting like their freestyle movement to a jerk and a burn at the same time, they're like, oh, and that's why I feel like people really sleep on rocking because it's like once you unlock that next level, it's just like, oh, I'm like, yeah, it's not just us jerking and like,
Yeah.
like play fighting. It's like there's strategy involved. It's like my Muay Thai comes out even more now when I rock. And subconsciously, I wasn't conscious of that earlier, like a lot, like last year when the pandemic started, when I was just kind of doing my solo shit. I'm like, oh, that's a slip, but I'm gonna make it work when I do like a side jerk. I'm like, oh, okay. So, but yeah, for the most
Out of
part,
the out of the three elements, jerking, doing burns, um, your freestyle, what do you enjoy doing more?
in the beginning, it was jerks, but I'm weird. I love freestyle. We were a very dance centric crew in the beginning, and that was one thing I felt that made Forever We Rock stand out. And I think that's why a lot of like guys like Noel thought we were from like Bushwick, but we're kind of a hybrid of a lot of styles. But I like freestyle just because growing up here in the Bay, I learned how to salsa, bachata, merengue. So it's like and then I look at old footage of like, the Nicholas brothers, and I put all that. So I take all the experiences culturally that I've brought up on, and I put that in my freestyle. So I try to stand out when I freestyle. So freestyle is probably like my favorite thing to do at this point, and followed by like jerks. Burns is just like whatever. I don't have a love or hate for it. It just my
It's
burns
like
come out of nowhere, so whatever. But
necessary evil. It's like a
yeah, it's a
necessary evil.
necessary evil. Yeah.
Speak on the topic of freestyle. What are your top songs to rock to? Like personally that you enjoy. Like if the DJ throws this song on, you're not winning a battle against Whacko.
Give it up, turn it loose. Listen to me and castles.
Castle's a good one too.
Yeah.
Except when it tapers off towards the end and then it goes again. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
See,
you
that's
want to
the
stop?
thing, man. Like I'm in every crew I've been in, I'm the music guy. People are like, yo, Wacko, what's that song? I just be like, oh, that's it's Blackbirds, that's Rock Creek Park. Because
Mm,
when we have Amoeba Records out here back in the day, there's a guy that was like that. You could like kind of hum something to him. He's like, oh, that's probably like, you know, blah, blah. And if you like that, you pull out a record, you know, and just play it. And I was like, oh shit. And so I kind of learned from him. But yeah, there's songs that like the original, like the Sex Machine, like live, you know. So when you hear Give It a Turn, it's like
Yeah.
yeah. So some people don't know how to respond to that, and I've seen people get like burned like when that and then Give It a Turn and Loose starts. You're just like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Dope. Yeah. Dope records. What's the best rock jam that you've ever been to and why? And what's the worst rock jam that you ever been to and why? And when I say worst, it doesn't have to be like, you know, you don't have to, you know, completely shit on the event, but you know, sometimes the music is off. Sometimes, you know, the venue is a little off or it's mad deep, you know. So what was like the most enjoyable rock jam experience for you, and what was it probably not the best experience for you?
I mean, it probably have to be, you know, when I went to Culture Shock, when I went to Taiwan. That was just like that was my first time leaving the country. I tell people, man, it's like you only see so much through footage, but when you're there, man, like people know, dude. Like when they played like Rain 2000, it started raining. Like in downtown Taipei, it was like, you know, some like Hollywood shit, and then
Yeah,
like
yeah,
once the song was over, it stopped raining, and the crowd was just awesome. Like everything that I did against Bourne, you gotta remember, like it was mostly non-English speaking crowd, and for them to still understand the burns that I was doing or everything I was doing when I was rocking Bourne, they were like, "Oh my god, he gave birth to him, he threw him in the air, and then he killed him." Like, what the hell, you know? So that was dope. It was a long day, but I had fun. Um, and I wouldn't say worse. I would just say frustrating is probably the second year I went to freestyle session the following year after I won.
2016.
It just wasn't as organized. You know, the same DJs that I, you know, usually were gonna do it weren't there. Some of the judges, you know, weren't there. It was just like there wasn't a lot of communication between folks, and so a lot of people were confused where to sign up, and so it was. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was the worst. It was just I felt myself really frustrated that second year. It was like so good the first year, and then my second year was kind of like, what happened? Like, you know, no one knows where to go. So yeah. And
Word.
now that I've been on the other side of how to, you know, organizing events, I have a better idea, even more so. So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna be more wary of this than that. So
Dope. Yeah, man. Yeah, could have used some improvement. I had some experiences that year myself, but you know, it's in the past, and I think we're moving forward to better events and more quality rock events on stuff like that. I'm gonna say some names of some rockers, and I just want you to whatever comes to mind. All right,
right,
King Up Rock,
Ralph Casanova, Crazy Hips.
Little Dave,
That's my grandfather. My grandfather won't stop talking about back in the day. But it's like, okay, grandpa. It's like you're trying to go, but you're like, you still got to like hear him tell that one story.
or Mr. Loose,
Intimidating, but once you like get on his good side, a pretty like straight up dude.
or
Kind of
Ringo.
reminds me of my uncle.
Ringo, yeah, word. That is true. Mr. Loose is like that. Ringo.
It's like you can't tell if he's being like, are you being mean to me? He's like, nah, man, say it with your chest. You know, I was like, damn,
Yeah.
huh? Okay. Did you say Ringo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my that's my Latin uncle. It's like, yo, you need $20? I got you. So,
Word. Break Easy.
oh man, that's Sensei right there.
Word.
Knowledgeable dude, probably the most humblest cat I've ever met, and you know, always neutral. He's no matter what's happening, he's like neutral.
Rock Bandit.
Mad scientist and my teacher, but I love him. So
Word.
Without Bandit, there would be no like rocking Whacko.
Word. And last but not least, Rob Nasty.
The name says it all. The fool's nasty. That guy's a sponge. It was definitely a pleasure watching his development in the early days when we were still in the same crew. Um, but yeah, that guy's a beast on the dance floor.
Word. And I'm gonna throw in one last person because I I say he's really wild, and that's Tiny Love.
Yeah, man, that guy's a maniac, but I still love him.
Word, word. Um, Joe Schmo, whatever. B boy, fresh. Just been breaking maybe 3 years. He sees you, Whacko, doing a jerk. He's like, "Yo, what's that?" He goes up to you. He's like, "Yo, I've been watching you. I looked up Rockin' on YouTube. I want to get into it." What do you say to him? What is the
Okay.
advice? What is the advice you give to him?
Uh, can you take a burn? It's just like the same. It's like if I said when you battle someone like and they get a good round on you, how do you accept that? Can you take that? Can you like swallow that like fucking like humble pie? It's good. So if you can do that, then that's a start, And then we work on your cardio, like because I said, guess what? We're gonna be dancing this whole song. You're gonna dance a whole song. And when I say dancing, it could be two-step in, whatever, but you're dancing the whole song. So I kind of take a little bit of how Bandit, got me and Rob, and I just put my own spin on it. So it's like, show me that you're really serious about it, then I'll keep working with you. And if you message me, I'll give them my information. Like, here's my info. Send me some clips. I'll send you some stuff, and we'll get to work.
Word, dope. You hear that? Um, as we wrap up here, you have represented your coast heavily when it comes to rock. I would say if you say the word rocking and you mentioned California, your name with the two you mentioned earlier probably had to be the three defining names to be mentioned in terms of representing, traveling, battling, holding it down for your town and your crew. You've gone to other countries, you've battled, you've gone against the best from the elders, you've battled the King Uprocks and those people, the elders, and you've battled your contemporaries and you've battled the newcomers that have come into the community. With all of this being said and done, do you feel that you are spoken about in the same do you feel like you're given the props that you deserve as a rocker when people speak about rock and who the best rockers are and is this person the best rocker, was that person the best rocker? Do you feel that your name is up there, or do you feel that you're underappreciated when it comes to getting the props you deserve in the rock community?
Just in general, I'm like I said, I'm weird, dude. It's like I'm still not used to people when they come up to me and tell me like I'm the reason why they dance.
Mm,
And that's just my upbringing. I know I have a name, um, but it doesn't bother me even if I'm not brought up in conversation, like, oh yeah, Wacko's like a dope rocker, or if I'm not. So, like I said, when I flew down last month for my birthday, to the event in Florida, you know, I wasn't sure, like, if I was going to enter or how well I was going to do, but like, just like bumping into you and a bunch of other homies in the room, I was just like, oh, I felt good. And then people were like, oh, man, you're looking good. So I
I
kind
will
of,
tell you, I'll
what's that?
tell you, you and Tiny's battle woke up that jam. I
Yeah,
told Tiny this. I said if it wasn't for your battle with Wacko, we probably would have had sleeping bags in that jam. Real talk, because the energy was so low and it was people were dancing, but it wasn't the energy wasn't going upward. And that's just my
right.
opinion,
It
and
was,
it's
yeah,
just
it
how
was,
I
it was pretty like, because everyone's
yeah.
also kind of like figuring their things out. And then it was like, okay. And then when they called me and Tiny up, I was like, all right, yeah, we're going to go.
Yeah. But when you two battled, that set a precedence for the rest of the room of what a battle is. And oh wow, everyone going in, because even I was going like, yo, I was like, even I was falling asleep. But when I watched that battle, I was like, yo, now I feel like getting in this because this is what it's about. These two are showing, and you're both putting it on the line. You're not playing it safe. Y'all both went right in the middle, right up close, and just went at each other. So I really thank y'all because y'all really pushed and woke everyone up in that jam. But to like I was asking you, you can continue. How do you feel like we went to that jam and you said that you just was like coming there like it is what it is.
I mean, you gotta understand too, bro. Like when we were talking earlier about just all the life stuff I've been dealing with. I'm kind of like a social justice warrior right now for people that are fighting their landlords and trying to survive in their city. I'm an SF native, and I'm literally fighting this an uphill battle to maintain my space. So physically, I've been feeling good. I'm still training. I'm just not entering stuff in, bro. It's 2 years. I haven't entered a competition in 2 years, and so I felt good regardless of the results. I felt good after the fact. The next day, the week after, I was like, yo, like I wasn't tired. And the hardest thing for me was getting this back, my
Mm.
mental. And I went in there, and that's why I was like, I felt good. I like snapped out when I recognized you. I was like, oh shit, is that Vitamin? I'm like, okay, so what's up, bro? And then so yeah, and yeah, I felt good. So I know I don't have to be reminded that people are talking about me. I kind of have an idea, like, if people talk about rock, I'm probably in that conversation, and, I still talk about, worry. I talk about crazy smooth. I talk about whack. I talk about the first time I met Phantom, you know, all these people like, are part of my, where I am today as a dancer. So,
Word,
and like I'm really keeping my eye out on like Charlie right now. He's probably one of my favorite up and comers right now. So
word. In closing, what do you want to say anything to the rock community, the rock world? Do you have a message for the rock world, rock community?
yeah, can't really say if it's 100% or not, but I am working on bringing rocking back to freestyle session this year. So just waiting for the man to tell me some things. But yeah, we're gonna try and bring it back. There's some things I want to try different, when it comes to the finals. But in terms of compensation, we're trying to bump pay. We're trying to work on some other things too to get the winner like their shine. Rocking is a phenomenal dance. It's still got a ways to go, and I think if we really push and come together, it'll be just as big and on the same stage as breaking, as open styles, as whacking, popping. We just got to kind of like streamline some things, man. But that's my goal. So I'm gonna try. The key word is I'm gonna try, y'all. So I'm gonna try and see if we can get this thing going for freestyle session this year. So I'm gonna make a little video, just kind of like reiterating that, like post, leave me comments on my page, like what do we got to do to get rocking at freestyle session Whacko. So DM me, leave me a comment. Um,
Nice.
Start training now. If it
Word.
happens, I want people to come in with the mindset that rocking is gonna happen at freestyle session. So don't just show up day of and do like shitty jerks and think that's gonna because I'm pretty sure like a lot of people are gonna enter because it's not gonna be just for like $200. Just to say that.
There you go. You heard it right there live. Ideally and hopefully we make that happen because that would be a great thing for the rock community. And like he says, to give shine to the rock community. That's what we need, We did the pool halls, we did the dirty pool halls already. We did
Yeah.
the we did the
Nah.
blocks, we did
Yeah.
under the scaffolding, we did McCarran Park. Now we got to take it to a more of a pristine level.
Yes.
Word. Yo, Whack, thank you so much. Whacko, thank you so much for joining me this evening, early evening for you, about to be late evening for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contributions to the rock community. It was real cool seeing you in Florida in person. I'm like, yeah, he's kind of tall in real life. It was dope seeing you in person, and your battle with Tiny was definitely dope. Before we get off the call, you mentioned in the beginning because when we were speaking, you said when we were organizing this, you told me, when I'm not cooking up my donuts, And in my brain, I'm thinking beats because you're a music dude, and I'm thinking Jay Dilla. But then I look at the social media, and you're really cooking up donuts. So break this down a little bit. How did you get into making donuts, and you have your own brand? Like, talk about this endeavor you have with donuts.
Yeah, so the pandemic flipped the world, on his back. So, like I said, my last job ended in towards the end of 2019. My aunt had passed and my mentor had passed, and I was just kind of a wreck. And they started the shelter in place. Like I was supposed to go out to Denmark again for 4 Wars in March of 2020, but then when I got to Russia, bro, everything just shut down. I had to get a flight back to New York, New York to LA back home, and then it was like the shelter in place in the city. And so, I just started baking, bro. That's like my little side hustle. I
Right.
used to tell people that's how promoters would fly me out. Like I told someone like, oh yeah, Tyrone had my peach cobbler, and that's how he's flying me out to IBE. And like people are like, word? I'm like, nah, man, I'm just fucking with you. But it's called the truth. So if all the dance homies that have had my peach cobbler, they know what's up. But yeah, man, I just started baking through a recipe that a homegirl gave me from my gym. And she was like, I know you're kind of like grieving right now. Let's take your mind off stuff. And I just started making these donuts, bro. And then before I knew it, like I was just giving them out. And my boy was like, dude, these are really good. You should do something with this. And I was like, I don't know. And so I just bought some boxes, made a quick little logo. And yeah, my homegirl from high school was like, yo, like I saw your IG page. If you want to do like a pop up, you could do it at my cafe. So I started popping up there. And I was going to breweries. And then before I knew it, people were inboxing me like, yo, are they vegan? Because like they look really good. And I was like, no, but it's no dairy. And but I was like, give me a minute. And I just basically taught myself how to like bake for vegan folks. And so I just converted to 100% vegan.
Oh, you're
And
vegan.
no, I'm not vegan. That's the number one
Okay.
question I get. People are like, "Are you vegan?" I'm like, "Oh, you a
You
Muslim?"
just
I'm like,
you
"Nah."
said you said I converted to 100% vegan. I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
whoa.
no, I converted the recipes and
Are you
everything.
hanging out with Chronic?
No, right? But no, once I did that, bro, then everyone started hitting me up, and then luckily I've been really blessed, and I've been getting hooked up. Like I tell people, like the dance world in which you kind of do on the side sometimes mix in a good way. So like the baking connected me to all my DJ homies. Some of my DJ homies are food vendors, like my boy Al Pastor Poppy. He has his little pop up truck, and he was like, I'm gonna tell these guys about you. And then I just started popping up, and Google hit me up for this like program, like Black Entrepreneurs. So I did a photo shoot with them. Never seen those photos to this day, and that was like 2 years ago.
You're on the side of
Um,
a bus, probably on the side of a bus, don't even know it.
right, and they like made me sign this NDA and shit. So I mean, I can talk about it now. I don't give a fuck. And then yeah, then I just started leveling up more and more, bro. So I LLC last year, so Whack Donuts is officially
Oh,
my brand.
dope,
Um,
dope.
and then the big thing that just happened recently, I got discovered again, and they had this contest. It's uh, a rising entrepreneur by this company called Radiant, and they do kind of like digital like signage and shit. And they were like, "You've been chosen, like to enter." And so I had to submit a video. I just talked about what my product was, and then I think like a week or two later, I was having a slow day with sales, and then my homegirl was like, "Dude, you made top five," and I was like, "Top five? Like I'm at a jam? Like what's going on?" No, I made top five, the finalist, and so I got to pitch my business, Shark Tank style, last this past Friday, and I had the homies help me out. I had my display set up, and so this
Oh,
Thursday I find out if who the winner is. So if you're chosen as the winner, they're basically going to build out a brick and mortar space for you with free lease for a year and then a $10,000 stipend on top of that. So
yeah, yeah.
that's my little side skill. So I bake donuts.
That's what's up, yo. I'm definitely when I go over there, I'm trying them because I'm a donut man. I used to have the Gentle Chronicles, so I'm definitely trying some Whacko donuts when I'm out there. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Hopefully,
my goal too, bro, is to what I love about our community is like so many of us have these hidden like talents, like I think about Box, that fool's making music, why not? Same thing, that guy's making music and graphic design, box. What's his face? Cuts hair. Busy Brooks, yeah, he's got his own little barbershop, and I'm doing donuts, and I'm just like, yo, like one day I wanna sponsor somebody. I want to sponsor some rockers, some b boys, some b girls. I don't know.
Or like a network, like, yo, you know what? Don't go to Dunkin' Donuts. Go to Whack. Go to
Yeah,
Whacko.
get some Whack donuts.
Don't go get your music from this person. Go to that person. Don't If we got a b-boy, we got a rocker that's a dentist, we gonna go to Charlie to get our teeth fixed.
Yep.
We gonna go over here to do this. We gonna go over here to do that. PJ used to make shirts. We go to PJ to get shirts. We go to Fano to get them shirts. So I like that, like b-boy social economics. Rocking social economics.
Yeah, people are kind of getting the hookup now, but it's like I really like when I see that within the scene where people are like really pushing. What I see Moy doing and a bunch of other cats out there too. So I'm definitely crossing my fingers, and even if this doesn't happen, I made some really good connects with people in the industry. But somehow, some way, you're gonna see Whack Donuts in New York at some point, in Orlando, in like, Texas, and eventually overseas, man. So I'm just getting started. So like I said, at this point in my life, it's just still dancing, kicking pads, and making donuts. That's just what I'm about right now.
Word up, yo. Whacko, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna chop it up again in the future.
Yes, sir.
And yo, one love.
Right back at you, bro.
Thank you for coming to Talking Rock, yo. Vitamin the Governor, Talking Rock. Before we leave, how can the people get in contact with you? Your social media, your Whacko Donuts social media, websites, anything that you want to plug so people can get in contact with you and learn more about what you're doing.
Yeah, if cats want to just talk to me on my regular IG, it's the Whackness, not like the spelling in the movie, but it's WHACKNESS. If you're trying to holler at me on Whack Donuts, it's the same name. It's Whack Donuts, NWHACK Donuts. Hit me in the DMs. If you happen to be in the West Coast, specifically in the Bay, that's the best way to get in contact, get your donuts on. But look for me to be popping up in other cities. So once I get this like situation handled, I will be popping up, doing special pop-ups in other cities, either later this year or going into 2023.
Word up. You heard it right there live. And we ready for it. Yo, the next contest is gonna be sponsored by the donuts. Don't have too many before the battle. You ain't gonna be able to last. Yo, this is Vitamin the Governor, Vitamin Vision TV. You can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check me out. We got the practice on Fridays. We're gonna be promoting that also. We got a couple of other things coming up. Check out Into the Rock, which is a project coming out of the Mastermind Rockers camp, headed by Mighty Mike, which is going to be a short compilation of videos from different rockers around the world. That's something you have to look forward to. May 6th in NYC, Alien Ness is throwing a rock dance centric party in Brooklyn, New York. Check out the Rock Dance page on Facebook if you want more information on all of that. My name is Vitamin the Governor. This is Whack. It's been real. Thank you for coming, and peace out. Everyone enjoy the rest of their evening.
Peace, illest villains. Time to rock. Holla.
Word.